Seneca once said, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality." And yet, when a woman disappears from your life without a single word, your imagination goes into overdrive. Was it something you said? Something you did? The truth is often brutal. Women leave without warning for reasons that most men never understand. But the Stoics understood human nature better than anyone. They knew that emotions, desires, and fears drive people's actions, even when those actions seem illogical. In this video, you will learn the 7 brutal reasons why women vanish without warning. Some of them will sting, some of them will shock you, but all of them will help you see reality as it is, not as you wish it to be. Watch until the end, because the last reason might be the most painful of all. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your story in the comments below. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. She got the ick. One moment, she's interested. But next, she's completely repulsed. You didn't cheat. You didn't argue. You didn't do anything wrong. But suddenly, something about you makes her skin crawl, and she can't even explain why. It's irrational, sudden, and completely out of your control. This is called the ick. It's an instinctive, almost visceral feeling of disgust that kills attraction instantly. Maybe she saw you trip on the sidewalk. Maybe the way you laughed reminded her of her weird uncle. Maybe she noticed something small, how you chew, how you hold a fork, how your shoes don't match your belt. It could be as trivial as the way you text, how you breathe too loudly when eating, or even how you get too excited over something she finds childish. And in that moment, all attraction dies. It sounds ridiculous, but that's because attraction isn't always logical. Women are wired for emotional reactions, not just rational decisions. The ick isn't something she chooses, it's something that happens to her, like an allergic reaction. One day, she enjoys your company. The next, even the thought of being near you feels unbearable. And here's the worst part, once the ick sets in, there is no coming back from it. The moment a woman gets the ick, her entire perception of you changes. She starts scrutinizing everything about you. Things she once found cute or charming suddenly seem cringeworthy. She might begin to avoid your texts, cancel plans, or even ghost you completely. And when you ask what went wrong, she won't have an answer, because even she doesn't fully understand it herself. This is where many men make the mistake of trying to fix things. They ask questions, seek explanations, or try harder to regain her interest. But once a woman has the ick, there's no logic that will undo it. You could be the perfect gentleman, say all the right things, and give her space, none of it will change the fact that her attraction has been switched off like a light. And the more you try to win her back, the deeper the ick becomes. The Stoics understood this well. They warned against placing too much trust in fleeting emotions because they are unpredictable and often misleading. A Stoic man does not panic when things beyond his control shift unexpectedly. He does not beg for explanations, nor does he try to fight against the inevitable. Instead, he accepts reality as it is. He recognizes that attraction is fickle, that feelings change, and that not everything is meant to last. So what does this mean for you? It means that no matter how well things are going, a woman can suddenly and permanently lose interest over something small. And once the ick sets in, there is no reversing it. She will never see you the same way again. That's why she disappears without an explanation, because even she doesn't fully understand what happened. The best response? Letting go. Don't try to fix what cannot be fixed. Don't waste your energy seeking closure where none exists. The faster you accept the reality of the ick, the less power it has over you. If she gets the ick, she was never truly yours to begin with. A strong, self-assured man does not chase after someone who has lost attraction to him, he simply moves on. And here's the truth, the ick is often triggered by a loss of respect. When a woman senses weakness, desperation, or overeagerness, it amplifies any minor irritation she already feels. This is why it's crucial to maintain your composure, your dignity, and your self-respect. If she walks away, let her. If she suddenly finds you unbearable, accept it with grace. Trying to convince her otherwise only confirms her decision. The irony is, the less you care, the more you retain your power. Women are drawn to men who do not crumble at the first sign of rejection. They respect men who value themselves enough to walk away without a second thought. The moment you learn to embrace indifference, you will never fear the ick again. Because in the end, the right woman, the one truly meant for you, will never get the ick in the first place. So if she gets the ick, let her go. Let her fade into the past while you continue forward, unshaken. That is the mindset of a Stoic man. That is the power of true self-confidence. Chapter 2. She was never into you. Here's the truth. Some women never truly liked you in the first place. They went on dates with you out of curiosity, boredom, or politeness. Maybe they found you interesting but never felt that deep, primal attraction. Maybe they were testing the waters, waiting to see if feelings would develop. And when they didn't, they simply disappeared. It wasn't about you, it was about them never feeling the kind of emotional or physical pull that would make them stay. Women are socially conditioned to avoid confrontation. They don't want to hurt your feelings. So instead of rejecting you outright, they let things slowly fade. They avoid your calls, take longer to reply, or simply stop responding altogether. This way, they don't have to explain themselves or deal with the awkwardness of telling you directly. To them, silence is easier than saying, "I'm just not that into you." And as frustrating as it is, it's a reality you must accept. The reason this happens isn't always because you did something wrong. Sometimes, it's simply a matter of chemistry or lack thereof. Attraction isn't logical. You could be the perfect guy on paper, but if she doesn't feel that deep, irresistible pull, she won't stay. This is why understanding and accepting female nature is crucial. Women often operate on emotions and intuition more than logic. If she doesn't feel that spark, no amount of effort on your part will create it. The mistake many men make is chasing after these women, seeking closure, or trying to change their minds. They send more texts, ask what went wrong, or desperately try to win her over. But this only pushes her further away. When a woman has decided she isn't into you, nothing you say or do will change that. If she was never truly interested, then you were never an option, just a temporary distraction. The moment you realize this, you reclaim your power. A woman who ghosts or pulls away without explanation is showing you who she is. She is either too immature to communicate honestly or too indifferent to consider your feelings. Either way, she is not the type of woman you should waste your time on. A high-value man does not chase after someone who doesn't see his worth. He recognizes when he is being strung along, and he walks away without a second thought. The Stoics teach us to accept reality as it is, not as we wish it to be. If a woman disappears, don't chase, don't beg for closure, don't overanalyze. Just accept it and move on. The faster you accept the truth, the less power it has over you. The moment you stop needing closure is the moment you become truly free. Real strength is found in your ability to remain unmoved by external circumstances, especially those that are beyond your control. Women respect men who do not dwell on rejection. If you act desperate for answers, you reinforce her decision to leave. But if you remain indifferent, she may even start to wonder if she made a mistake. Ironically, the less you care, the more powerful you become. This is the essence of masculine energy, being secure in yourself regardless of how others treat you. Next time a woman pulls away without explanation, don't waste your energy trying to figure out why. Instead, channel that energy into becoming a better version of yourself. Work on your fitness, your finances, your skills, and your mindset. The better you become, the less rejection will matter to you, because you will realize that the right woman will never leave you in confusion. She will make her interest clear. A Stoic man does not dwell on the past. He does not chase validation from those who are indifferent to him. He does not waste his time wondering what went wrong. Instead, he moves forward with purpose, always seeking self-improvement. And in doing so, he naturally attracts the kind of women who see his worth and never hesitate to stay. So, if she was never into you, let her go. You don't need her. And the moment you realize that, you've already won. Chapter 3. You were too clingy. Neediness kills attraction faster than anything else. A woman wants to feel drawn to you, not trapped by you. If you overtext, constantly seek reassurance, or act like she's your only option in life, she will start to feel suffocated. The moment she feels like she has become the sole source of your happiness, the weight of that responsibility becomes overwhelming. And when a woman starts to feel overwhelmed, she starts looking for a way out. Think about a fire. If you smother it with too much wood at once, it dies. But if you give it space, feed it the right amount of air, it grows stronger and burns brighter. Attraction works the same way. Women are naturally drawn to men who are confident, independent, and in control of their emotions. If you constantly look for validation, if you put her on a pedestal, if you act as though her opinion of you defines your entire sense of worth, she will begin to see you as weak. And weakness is not attractive. Clinginess doesn't just manifest in excessive texting or constant check-ins. It also appears in subtle ways, such as always needing to be reassured of her feelings, constantly seeking confirmation that she still likes you, or panicking the moment she takes longer than usual to respond. When you act out of fear rather than confidence, she senses it. And when she senses it, she withdraws. The paradox of attraction is that the more you try to hold on tightly, the more you push her away. Women are drawn to men who have their own lives, their own passions, their own sense of purpose. If you make her your sole focus, if your happiness depends entirely on her presence, then you are no longer a challenge, you are an obligation. And nothing kills attraction faster than obligation. A Stoic man understands that his happiness does not depend on any external source. His sense of self-worth is not tied to a woman's approval. He does not need constant affirmation from others to feel complete. He is whole within himself. This level of self-sufficiency is what makes a man truly attractive. When a man lacks self-sufficiency, his insecurities begin to dictate his actions. He overanalyzes her words, he reads too much into her texts, he worries that any slight shift in her tone means she is losing interest. This constant overthinking and self-doubt make him needy, and that neediness repels her. A woman does not want to feel like she is responsible for managing your emotions. She wants a man who can handle his own. If she senses that you are emotionally dependent on her, she will feel trapped. And when she feels trapped, she will run. The only way to prevent this is to cultivate true self-confidence. Confidence is not about pretending to be indifferent, it's about actually being indifferent to things outside of your control. If she leaves, it should not shake your core. If she pulls away, you should not panic. You must remain steady, unaffected, and focused on your own path. The next time you find yourself craving her attention or seeking reassurance, pause. Ask yourself, am I acting from a place of strength, or am I acting from a place of fear? If the answer is fear, step back. Redirect your energy into something productive, your goals, your fitness, your personal growth. Women respect men who respect themselves. And a man who respects himself does not beg for attention. He commands it simply by being the best version of himself. When a man embodies this level of confidence and self-control, he does not fear losing her. Because he knows that if she truly values him, she will stay. And if she does not, then she was never meant to be in his life to begin with. A Stoic man does not chase, he attracts. And he attracts by standing firm in his own worth, by refusing to let external forces dictate his sense of self. If she disappears because you stop clinging, then you have already won. Because a man who does not need anyone else for validation is the man who ultimately holds all the power. Chapter 4. She met someone else. Brutal truth, you were not her only option. In today's world, especially with social media and endless opportunities for connection, most women have multiple men interested in them at any given time. Even if she seemed to enjoy your company, even if she laughed at your jokes and made you feel special, there's always a possibility that someone else entered the picture. And that someone else might have excited her more, sparked a deeper emotional pull, or simply had better timing. Attraction is not always about logic or fairness, it's about chemistry, timing, and how someone makes another person feel in the moment. This has nothing to do with your worth as a man. The mistake most men make is internalizing rejection as a statement about their value. But relationships, especially in the early stages, are rarely about pure merit. They are about emotions, instincts, and circumstances. A woman might disappear from your life not because you lacked something, but because someone else appeared who, at that moment, resonated with her more. Maybe he fit her current emotional state better. Maybe he ignited a thrill that she didn't even know she was looking for. Maybe he was just there at the right time, and you weren't. It's not personal, it's just life. Women often struggle with confrontation, especially when it comes to rejecting someone outright. Instead of giving you closure, they might take the easier route, silence. From your perspective, she disappeared without an explanation, leaving you wondering what went wrong. But from her perspective, she may not have felt that your connection was strong enough to warrant a difficult conversation. If she ghosted you, it's because, in her mind, she didn't feel an obligation to explain. Harsh? Yes. But understanding this truth will set you free from unnecessary suffering. A Stoic man does not attach his happiness to another person's choices. He understands that the actions of others are outside his control, and thus, he refuses to let them dictate his peace of mind. The moment you start chasing explanations, seeking closure, or ruminating over what you could have done differently, you place your power in someone else's hands. And that is a dangerous position to be in. Rejection is not a reflection of your inadequacy, it is simply an indication that she was not the right person for you. The sooner you embrace this mindset, the stronger you become. A man who understands this truth does not beg for second chances. He does not linger in self-doubt. He moves forward without bitterness because he knows that the right person will never require endless effort to stay interested. So what should you do if a woman you cared about disappears from your life? The answer is simple: nothing. Do not chase. Do not beg. Do not try to win her back. The moment you attempt to reclaim what was lost, you reveal a lack of self-respect. A high-value man knows that if someone leaves, they were never truly his to begin with. He does not mourn over what was never secured in the first place. Instead, focus on yourself. Improve your mind, body, and soul. Engage in your passions, elevate your confidence, and surround yourself with people who genuinely value your presence. When a man stands firm in his purpose, he does not fear loss because he understands that everything he truly needs already exists within him. If she met someone else, let her go. Your worth is not defined by whether or not she stays. It is defined by how you respond when she leaves. The Stoic way is simple: accept, adapt, and advance. Do not waste energy on what is out of your control. The right woman will recognize your value without needing to be convinced. And when she does, she won't leave you wondering where you stand. However, it's also crucial to recognize the patterns that led to this moment. If you find yourself constantly losing women to other men, it may be time to reflect on your approach to dating and relationships. Are you too available? Are you presenting yourself as a man of high value, or are you settling for whatever attention you receive? Confidence, self-improvement, and emotional intelligence are not just buzzwords. They are the keys to ensuring that when you attract a woman, she feels compelled to stay. A man who understands his worth does not compete for a woman's attention. He does not engage in power struggles with other men. He does not resent the ones who left or feel the need to prove himself to anyone. Instead, he operates from a place of abundance. He knows that for every woman who drifts away, there are countless others who will be drawn to his energy, ambition, and presence. Women are attracted to men who exude stability, confidence, and purpose. If you're constantly in a state of emotional neediness, desperately trying to hold on to someone who is already slipping away, you will only push them further. The strongest, most desirable men are the ones who understand that people will come and go, but their core remains unshaken. So the next time you experience loss, don't dwell on it. Recognize it as a lesson, an opportunity to refine yourself even further. Build a life so fulfilling that when someone exits, you barely feel the void because you are already complete within yourself. A man who has truly mastered this mindset doesn't just attract women, he attracts respect, admiration, and success in all areas of life. And when the right woman finally comes along, she will see in you something rare, a man who cannot be broken by loss, who does not chase validation, and who stands unwavering in his own power. Chapter 5. She got bored. A woman who constantly chases excitement will never be satisfied with stability. She thrives on chaos, unpredictability, and adrenaline. The moment things become too routine, too familiar, or too safe, her interest begins to fade. It doesn't matter how much effort you put into the relationship. It doesn't matter how well you treat her. If she is wired for thrill over depth, she will always crave something new. At first, she was completely drawn to you. The mystery, the tension, the excitement of not knowing what would happen next, it fueled her desire. Every moment with you felt electric because it was new, unpredictable, and exciting. She enjoyed the chase, the uncertainty, the feeling of discovering someone different. But then, over time, things stabilized. She started to understand your patterns, your habits, your consistency. And instead of feeling secure and connected, she felt restless. She began looking for ways to recreate the high she once had in the early days. The rush of excitement that came from uncertainty, from newness, from the unknown. And when she realized she could no longer get that from you, she started searching for it elsewhere. Some women are addicted to the honeymoon phase. They live for the thrill of falling in love, the dopamine rush of a fresh connection. They confuse excitement with love, passion with instability. As soon as things settle into a rhythm, as soon as she feels comfortable, she disappears. Not because you did anything wrong, not because there was a problem, but because she does not know how to exist in a relationship that is stable, secure, and real. She tells herself she just wants something more. That she doesn't feel the same spark she once did. She convinces herself that if she's not constantly feeling that rush, something must be missing. What she doesn't understand is that true connection is not built on constant highs, it is built on depth, on trust, on the ability to stand firm when the excitement fades. The Stoics believed in self-mastery, the ability to resist fleeting temptations and control one's desires. But a woman who is addicted to excitement has no self-mastery. She's ruled by her impulses. She follows whatever feels good in the moment, without considering the consequences. She jumps from man to man, relationship to relationship, always chasing that next thrill, never stopping to ask herself why nothing ever lasts. And this is why she left without warning. Because she was never committed to you. She was committed to how you made her feel. And the second that feeling changed, she was gone. You may wonder if you could have done something differently. If you could have kept her interest, if you could have found ways to keep things exciting. But the truth is, there is nothing you could have done. Because no amount of effort, no amount of spontaneity, no amount of trying to be more exciting would have changed the fact that she does not want consistency. She only wants the illusion of it, for as long as it keeps her entertained. A woman like this will never truly commit. She will never be loyal. She will always have one foot out the door, waiting for the next thrill, the next rush, the next moment of excitement. If she disappears, consider it a blessing. Because if she had stayed, you would have spent your entire life walking on eggshells, constantly trying to keep her attention, constantly feeling like you were never enough, constantly competing with the idea of excitement that no man could ever fully satisfy. So let her go. Do not chase. Do not beg. Do not waste your time wondering what went wrong. She is not looking for love, she is looking for a feeling. And a Stoic man understands that chasing temporary people is the greatest waste of time. If she vanished, let her stay gone. Because a woman who cannot master her impulses will never stay loyal to one man. Chapter 6. You didn't fit her fantasy. From the moment she was old enough to understand romance, she began constructing an idealized version of it. A fantasy. A dream of what love should look like, what her perfect man should be, how he should behave, and how he should make her feel. This fantasy isn't based on logic. It isn't based on reality. It's built from childhood stories, Hollywood movies, romance novels, and past experiences. It's an illusion she clings to, whether consciously or not. And when you entered her life, you simply didn't fit the role she had already cast in her mind. Maybe she wanted a mysterious bad boy, a man who keeps her guessing, a man who challenges her, frustrates her, excites her. But you were too kind, too open, too available. You treated her with warmth and honesty, yet instead of appreciating it, she felt underwhelmed. Or perhaps she was looking for a strong, stable provider, a man who exudes security, certainty, and an unshakable plan for the future. But in her eyes, you were too unpredictable, too spontaneous, too focused on living in the present rather than planning for a picture-perfect future. Maybe she craved a fairy-tale romance, a man who would sweep her off her feet, make her feel like the heroine in her own personal movie. She wanted grand gestures, poetic words, and a love story that mirrored the one she had seen in books. And when you didn't fit that narrative, when you simply treated her like a real person rather than a princess, she lost interest. But instead of telling you any of this, instead of admitting that her expectations were unrealistic, instead of recognizing that real relationships require compromise and understanding, she vanished. Why? Because admitting the truth would require self-awareness. It would require her to accept that love is not a fantasy. That no man, no matter how perfect, will ever match every expectation she has built in her mind. Rather than confronting this reality, she takes the easier route. She disappears. She moves on, convinced that the right man is still out there, the one who will fit seamlessly into the fantasy she refuses to let go of. The Stoics warned against chasing illusions. They taught that a man must focus on what is real, what is within his control, and what serves his personal growth. But many women, especially those who are deeply influenced by social conditioning, do the opposite. They chase illusions. They hold on to fantasies that have no foundation in reality. And when you fail to meet the impossible standard they have set, They don't adapt, they don't adjust, they simply leave. The worst part? There is nothing you could have done differently. You could have changed certain behaviors. You could have tried harder to fit the role she imagined. You could have bent over backward to meet her impossible standards. But none of it would have mattered. Because her fantasy isn't based on who you are, it's based on an idea. An idea that will never be fully satisfied. The man she is searching for does not exist. He is a mix of every unrealistic romantic storyline she has absorbed over the years. And even if she finds someone who seems to match her vision, reality will eventually break through. The fairy tale will crumble, the excitement will fade, and she will begin the cycle all over again, seeking the next man who might be the one. This is why a Stoic man never tries to fit into someone else's fantasy. He does not mold himself to meet another person's unrealistic expectations. He does not beg for validation from someone who is chasing an illusion. He does not lose himself trying to be the leading man in a story that was never his to begin with. Instead, he stands firm in who he is. He remains unshaken by a woman's fleeting desires. He does not grieve the loss of someone who never truly saw him, only a version of him that never existed. So when she disappears, when she moves on without warning, let her go. Not because you weren't good enough. Not because you did something wrong. But because she was never looking for a real man to begin with. She was looking for a fantasy. And the man who knows his worth refuses to waste his time on a woman who is still lost in a dream. Chapter 7. She never respected you. A woman who truly values and respects a man does not vanish without a word. She does not leave him in silence, wondering what went wrong, replaying every conversation, every moment, every detail in his mind, searching for answers that will never come. She does not disappear like a thief in the night, leaving behind only confusion and self-doubt. When a woman ghosts you, when she cuts you off without an explanation, it is not an accident. It is not a mistake. It is a statement. A declaration that, in her mind, you were never important enough to warrant closure. That you were disposable. That you were, at best, a passing distraction. The truth is brutal but necessary. She never truly respected you. Respect is not given freely. It is earned through strength, self-control, and unwavering confidence. A Stoic man understands this deeply. He does not beg for explanations. He does not chase after people who do not value him. He does not waste his energy trying to decipher the mind of a woman who lacked the decency to end things like an adult. Many men fall into the trap of believing that if they had done something differently, she would have stayed. They torture themselves with what ifs. What if I had texted less? What if I had made her laugh more? What if I had been more exciting? More attractive? More successful? But these questions are pointless. Because a woman who respects you does not simply walk away. A woman who truly values you will not leave you in the dark, wondering if you even meant anything to her in the first place. A woman who ghosts you was never fully invested in you. Maybe she was there for the attention, for the convenience, for the ego boost. Maybe she enjoyed the chase, the validation, the momentary high of your admiration. But the second she found something, or someone, she deemed better, she vanished. No explanation. No consideration. Just silence. This is why a Stoic man never begs for closure. He does not need a woman to explain why she left, because the act of leaving itself is all the explanation he needs. He does not send desperate messages, asking what went wrong. He does not drown in self-pity, waiting for a woman who has already made it clear that she does not value him. He does not waste his dignity chasing someone who saw him as nothing more than an option. Instead, he accepts the truth and moves forward, stronger, wiser, and completely indifferent. Because a woman who lacks respect for you is not worth one more second of your time. This is the lesson most men refuse to learn. They keep chasing. They keep hoping for answers. They keep clinging to the illusion of what once was, instead of embracing the reality of what is. They let their egos get the best of them, believing that if they can just prove their worth, she will come back. But a woman who disappears without warning has already spoken louder than words ever could. So let her stay gone. Let her fade into irrelevance. Let her ghosting be the greatest favor she ever did for you. Because the only women worth your time, the only women truly deserving of your presence, are the ones who respect you enough to never leave without a word. Epictetus once said, "The more we value things outside our control, the less control we have." And that's exactly why so many men suffer when a woman vanishes without a trace. They chase answers. They beg for closure. They replay every moment, searching for the mistake that made her leave. But the truth is simple: if she disappeared, she was never meant to stay. A Stoic man does not waste time analyzing the past. He does not cling to people who do not value him. Instead, he moves forward, stronger, wiser, and unaffected. Women will come and go. Some will vanish without a word. But the only thing that truly matters is how you respond. So ask yourself, will you let her ghosting shake your confidence? Or will you see it for what it really is, a blessing in disguise? If this video gave you clarity, leave a comment below and share your experience. Like the video, subscribe for more, and remember, the only person you should never allow to disappear is yourself.